Almost 1,000 delegates, the largest number ever to attend the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous issues, lined up early to register. Australia sending one of its largest delegations of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders to the 7th session of this forum. Peter Nathan from Mornington Island is a first-timer at the United Nations. It's day one and he admits to being somewhat overwhelmed.
First off, we fly to New York, and then next off we're in the UN building. I think when I first heard about it, it was a little bit more, it was a humbling moment because I just sat down and realised where I'm from and where I'm going, and just exactly how that's going to impact on me personally and also to my family. But I mean, everyone's pretty proud, and I'm pretty stoked. It's just, I think the whole process of it is just a little bit too big at the moment for me to kind of comprehend. So I think maybe in a couple of days it'll settle in and
you'll work out what's going on.
Yeah.
The session began with sounds from Australia. Bolivian President Evo Morales gave the opening address, the first by a president of a member nation to this forum. An Indigenous leader, he was given a hero's welcome. This is the first summit since the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples was adopted last year. Today, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon urged delegates to turn the declaration into a reality, both nationally and internationally. While the majority of member states have signed onto the declaration, there remain a handful who continued to hold out, and Australia is one of them. Australia remains one of 4 countries yet to endorse the Declaration on Indigenous Rights. There is disappointment that a decision to reverse this stand is unlikely to come at this forum. But there is also hope that a change in government in Australia will eventually lead to a new reality. Social Justice Commissioner Tom Calma is optimistic the government will change its stance. He says it's in line with moves by both Canada and New Zealand.
You know, it's interesting that we've already seen take place in Canada. They've changed their position. There's been a move within the Canadian government to now recognise it. We've seen states in the United States sign up to it or flagging that they're willing to adopt it. And you know, Australia, I think, has taken a lead role in this, in flagging it early, and so it needs to be formally now, you know, announced to the UN.
One of the other key issues facing the delegates is climate change. Long-time Indigenous rights campaigner Mick Dodson says many Indigenous communities worldwide are increasingly concerned about what it will mean not just for their future, but their survival.
Well, the main theme this year is on climate change, and you know, many Indigenous groups are in the coalface of climate change, so to speak, you know, particularly in the Pacific, in the Arctic.
Over the next 2 weeks, delegates will be attempting to influence the future. The Declaration on Indigenous Rights took 20 years to bring into effect, but more urgent action is being called for in addressing climate change.